Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a very fun. I love these types of DIYs. So today I'm going to share with you guys how I made these concrete beads. They are super fun. You can use them in like garland or for decor. I have been seeing these beads all over places like Pottery Barn and Etsy, and while they are very cute, they can run a pretty penny too. They can go upwards of like almost $160. These ones on Pottery Barn are similar. They're around $100. If you guys are new here, one thing about me is I love to get that luxury look without the hefty price tag, and I'm going to share with you how to do it today. So here are some supplies you will need. I use the fast setting Quikrete, and this dries very, very fast. So you have to work fast, but I'm super impatient, so this worked well for me. Also, I found these on Amazon. These are your molds that you're going to need. These are actually ice molds, but they're made out of silicone, which is key to getting the beads to release really well. And these are super good quality. I love the way that they work for concrete, and this comes with 4 molds and the funnel in one box, which you don't need the funnel, but they are great quality in my opinion, so I will link those down below. This is the rope I used. It's a 1/4-inch garden rope, and you can find this at places like Home Depot, and I'll link it down below as well. And these are the most odd things to use, but I found that they work the best. So these little Bic pens, they can come apart, and I used the tube to make the facet of the bead. So here is a quick rundown of all the supplies minus the concrete and rope. I'll also put a list and links to everything down in the description box below. So for this DIY to be more cost effective, I found this bag of concrete at Home Depot for about $5. However, it does have like the gravel and the pebbles in it, which I don't want those in my beads, so I'm just going to take a sifter. You can find these at like the dollar store or even the grocery store. They're very cheap. And I'm going to sift my pebbles and gravel. All I want is that like fine powder. So I'm going to separate that and just get the powder, which is what I really want. You can buy just the powder itself, but it is a little bit more expensive. But if you want to totally bypass this step, I will link just the cement powder down below as well. This project can get a little bit messy, so if you have space outside, you may want to do this one outside. And once that is all separated, I'm going to toss my gravel. I don't need it. And this is the cement that I will be using for the beads. Some prep work before we actually start the beads. I'm going to be using cooking spray, and I'm going to spray down these little pin tubes just because you want them to be oiled up so that they will not stick to your concrete. Trust me, this is a step you do not want to forget. And once the pins are all oiled up, you can set everything out. I like to get everything ready just because if you're working with the quick set concrete, you really have to work fast. Regular concrete, you don't have to work as fast, but I just like to have everything ready. Once that concrete's mixed, everything's ready to go. And if working with the quick set concrete, I just like to do small batches. I like to make the consistency, I would say, kind of like a paste. You don't want it really runny for this project. I feel that the molds work the best with like a thicker paste-like consistency. Also for mixing, I just use like old Tupperware and plastic utensils that I have around the house. This will like ruin your bowls and your spoons and all that, so you want to make sure that you're not using things that you want to keep. And I just spoon this into the molds, making sure that I get as many air bubbles as I can out. You want to keep tapping the side and give it a little jig, as they call it, and make sure there are no air bubbles. Using the matching part, I want to make sure that I'm using the right part of the mold that matches with that little corner there. I'm going to fill the other side with concrete and flip it as fast as I can. You do want to tap it out a little bit just to make sure that there are no air bubbles, and then go ahead and stick your pen tube straight through the center and make sure that it goes all the way to the bottom. And the reason why I like to do one bead per mold is because when you're tapping it out, if you have multiple in there, it kind of disturbs the other one. So I just think it's better to just do one at a time. The quick set concrete works really fast. It'll be ready in about 30 to 45 minutes to pop out. However, when working with concrete, not everything always works out. It's kind of a trial and error process. This one got a little bit too much air up top. I didn't tap it out enough, but the other ones worked out really well. And the pen tubes, if you oiled them, should just slide or twist right out. And if they don't have a hole all the way through, I'll show you a little hack to fix that too. This mold I got 2 out of, and these ones worked out really well. I think it depends on how fast you can work with the quick set concrete. Some people like the slow set, but it just depends on what you're comfortable with. And these little bands that are going right across the center, I'm going to show you how to get rid of those as well, so stick around. And it's kind of hit or miss with the pens. Sometimes they do float up so you won't get that hole all the way through. This one did work. So if you don't get a hole all the way through, you can take a drill, and this is fitted with a 1/4 inch drill bit, and it literally pops right through. And I like to clean up the hole a little bit just to make things really easy when it comes to threading the rope through. Now to get that center band off, I found that this is the most efficient way. This is a palm sander, and it really just makes things so much easier than sanding by hand. It will work by hand, but this is so much faster. I like to have this on hand for lots of different DIY projects, and I'll link it down below. And I fitted the palm sander with 36 grit sandpaper. This is pretty gritty sandpaper, but it takes the concrete off so fast. You can also use a 40 grit, and then I like to finish it up with 100 grit at the end. So to get that center band off, I pretty much just held the bead and then sanded off that little band towards the center. It does go really fast if you have a palm sander. You can also put a towel down and lay the bead down on the towel, and then from up top put the sander on it that way as well. Just to make the whole bead match, I also kind of roughed it up towards the top and the bottom because I wanted everything kind of cohesive and not just the center roughed up. But what I like about these is that no two are the same. They're all different. They all have their own little character, and I really love that. Again, this is the rope that I used. It's a 1/4 inch garden rope. You can find this at Home Depot, or I will link it down below. This is about $3 or $4. It's very inexpensive, and it goes a long way. So I cut about 4 to 5 feet of rope and then put some tape on the end just to make it very easy to thread the beads through. And threading the first bead through, I'm going to thread that completely all the way to the very bottom and stop a little ways before the end of the rope and tie 2 knots through as like a stopping point. There's 1 knot, and there is the 2nd knot. And I'm going to push that bead all the way to that knot, and then I'm going to put 2 more knots right on the other side of it. And when I'm adding that 2nd knot, I want it to be as close as can be to that first knot. I try and put them like right on top of each other just so that it makes like one big bulky knot, if that makes sense. And after you get the hang of it, it goes really fast. This is the easiest part, is threading, and I think it's the funnest part, but threading the beads and seeing it all come together is by far my favorite part. And once all of your beads are gone and threaded onto the rope, you are left with your garland made of concrete. I like to add a double knot right on the end just to secure everything. You can go ahead and take that tape off, and then I went through and cut any excess rope that I didn't want on there, and any little stray frays that were hanging off. I finished it up and cut all those off. And these are so fun to style. You can put them in a pretty bowl, on top of your books, on top of a coffee table. Fireplace mantle would be so perfect. The possibilities are endless. I hope you guys found this video useful or it inspired you in some way to try a new DIY. And with that, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. We're so happy to have you guys, and we appreciate all the love we get. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.